Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the bold analysis. In 2023, there is something that has been a rider for Kenya Kwanza administration. And this rider has been anchored on one point about paying the debts. William Ruto and State House team have actually had spirited effort and activated the government machinery to convince the public, to convince Kenyans that much of what we are doing to resuscitate the economy is going into paying debts. So our debt profile is something that has been used in public. In my informal discussions with members, some few friends in this channel, they do tell me that, Kevin, the reason why the political class picked the debt as a political narrative to run with is because it is emotive and it is a factor that is relatable. Because kila mtu kwa hii nchi ako na deni. Sasa akisikia nchi iko na deni, it sinks deep. And so today, I want us to dig deep and have a deep dive at what exactly is happening. What do we know, what have been said, and which are the loopholes? Before we do that, I want to remind you that we are building our Nani House here. This is 83-year-old Hilda from Uyoma in Siaya. Hilda house is leaking and is in a very poor state. She's in a very, and the house is in a very poor state. She's actually, she gave birth to 15 children. 13 died, 2 only remaining, and they're not stable. So one of us reached out. So far, we are just doing today, yesterday and today, we are fundraising to top up on Mabati. We already have 20 iron sheets, so we'll add 15 more, then buy nails and also the poles. I believe we can tighten up that up to tomorrow. So tomorrow I'll be back there to buy that, and that is why I'm running 100 shillings challenge. That 100 bob, if you get 100, it will help us get a nail and what. So that by the end, by 5th, before I go back to Nairobi, I shall have made sure that our granny there have a new house, because the house she's staying in is in a very poor state. Ikinyesha, it leaks. And I'm telling you, even doesn't even have toilet around that place. So I really want us to try our best to make sure phase 1 of that house to Malize. We see if we can do the plaster and the rest. Now, I want us to tighten this closely. Do you know that the first media round table, the journalist cornered Ruto to ask him, why is it that our national debts have never been gazetted? And civil society have always petitioned Parliament to release the documents, to compel the government to publicize or to gazette our debts, the debts that this country is facing. We are ending the year, and that was never done. The controller of budget, Nyakango, who was recently crossing paths against Kenya Kwanza, is also on record saying that we borrowed money and partied with the money. That's number one. Nyakango has also said that much of that which we borrowed, Nyakango has also made it clear that much of that which we borrowed cannot be traced. Like, was it used for this development or that development? Remember, borrowing, according to our policy, is we should not borrow to pay salaries. So we should borrow for specific projects. And there is a clear indication that much of that which we borrowed, it is only hidden in some budgetary support. But directly, it is not related to project A, project Y. And we have been borrowing. So Nyakango has mentioned about debts that cannot even be traced. Debts that you cannot even ask for those files and you be given those files. Jimmy Wanjigi, in a dossier that she released, I think that was in May, that he released in May, Jimmy Wanjigi and Okiya Mtata, the human rights activists, were also arguing that we are overpaying our debts. Like there are debts that we are paying that were never even borrowed. We are paying non-existing debts. And he raised question, and I remember no one even responded to Jimmy Wanjigi, by the way. Jimmy Wanjigi was in Spice FM and a couple of other radio stations and TV stations, explaining the fact that this issue of our debts, it's a ticking time bomb, and no one wants to talk about it. So the fact that we are paying debts that do not exist, it is a point, it is something, it is an argument that this country have had. But none from the political class is willing to give a statement, a rejoinder, or something about it. And civil society organizations on 20th launched a movement known as Okoa Uchumi in Bomas of Kenya. And what they have also argued and what they have petitioned in parliament is to release, to show the country the debts we have, because the politicians have actually capitalized on ignorance from the members of the public. Not even ignorance, but, you know, like the members of the public do not understand. For them, it has been publicized and politicized to show that all this we are borrowing, all this we are collecting in terms of taxes are just used to pay debts. And that is why William Ruto, when he was giving his speech during the Jamhuri Day on 12th December, he mentioned that we have stabilized the economy and he has pulled the country out of the rags. In fact, Kenya Kwanza team are shouting in rallies and when they're carrying microphones that Ruto unpopular policies has enabled the country to be out of the debt distress. So the English of debt distress and the whole discussion about debts have been sold to the public simply because there is one question that is here. The public cannot give an answer. The public cannot scrutinize. The public cannot question. But that is why I'm asking, as we go to 2023, can you just publish the debt register? I think that has been asked so many times, and I think that is something that Kenya Kwanza has yet to do. And there is an emphasis of debts. We tried to, every subsequent government always tries to tweak the debt ceiling. President Ruto has one on anchoring that debt ceiling on our GDP, I think at 55% or something. There is a percentage. Anchoring our debt ceiling on GDP. Uhuru Kenyatta had it, and when Kadini Kega was the finance head of budget committee, they also tweaked, they adjusted that debt ceiling. So every government adjusted. Ruto is also adjusting it and is continuing to borrow as he complains about borrowing. Now, there is an emphasis on foreign debts, but do you know that our pending bills are in the tune of 800 billion? As we speak now, Nation had that story yesterday, that our pending bills stand at 800 billion. Pending bills, this is money owed to contractors that offered goods and services to the government, and they have not been paid. Now, if this money can be paid, imagine that is enough to engineer and bring back our economy to life. These young people in these villages here that are jobless will get construction sites, the roads, the tingatingas will go back to the roads, and the people that are working in those areas are going to get some money. So, in fact, as we look for money, we should not even look for money just to emphasis on paying the foreign debts. As much as, locals here cannot give government too much pressure, and government is taking advantage of the reluctance that they cannot do more. But there is an emphasis on foreign debts. But as we emphasize on that, local debts are actually screwing up the economy. And so, people are asking Uhuru whether he also paid. And Kenyans were asking. Kenya Kwanza is talking like they are the first African country, or Ruto is the first president to pay debts. Until you wonder, did Uhuru pay some debts? Did Kibaki pay any debt? Is William Ruto the first president to find debts, to inherit debts? So the question of debts have been here, and I just want you to also look at it. it's been made a big secret. Why has debt been made a big secret? Or if it is our taxpayers' money used to pay them, but that register cannot be made public, why hasn't that register been made public? That's a point. That's a question that many people have been asking. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm shooting at home, and huku there is a lot of disruption. So you will just understand. Pikipiki na pita huku, and it's normal. Our home is close to the gate. So it's normal. You will bear with me. I think when we back to Nairobi, we'll have a different feel. But of course, that is the local ambience. That is the village ambience. So if you miss the village, I think by the time I'll be living here, you'll have a very good feel of what is this side. Kindly subscribe to our channel. I am still reminding you of 100 shillings challenge towards our granny's house. We are building that house. It is in a very poor state. Ikinyesha, the roof is leaking, and the whole house becomes a pool of swimming pool, a pool of water. So we decided, after this story was forwarded to me by one of us, that I want us to take up and adopt Granny as our first project in January. I know things are tough. It's really going snailing, pole pole, but I believe I'm one person who doesn't lose hope. I believe we will achieve it. Kindly, let's do 100 for tomorrow, for yesterday and today. I just want to consolidate so that we can be able to buy nails and mabati and even some few poles, so that by today is 29th, then tomorrow, that is 30th and 31, we'll be doing the poles na mchanga. Mchanga ya kutengeneza hiyo nyumba lazima inunuliwe. Yes, when we buy that, then the last bit will be paying the fundi and paying the few people when you watafanya the few work, then we build it from 2nd of January. So kindly, let's push through, and I believe we can do it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, 3 things I want to point out around this. Money could be siphoned out of the consolidated fund through the debt could be a conduit of siphoning funds out. And it must be relooked. Maybe intentionally or unintentionally. Even Ruto himself, he should, there is a cabal around treasury that can do everything. Even if Ruto cannot serve it to us, Ruto should ensure I'm saying, even if it cannot be, that document should not be served to us, but he should ensure that at least he knows what exactly is happening in that ministry, because otherwise we are paying debts that are not just debts, we are paying people's accounts. And remember, in this world, corruption is deep-rooted, and if we are not careful, we are not paying debts. We are putting money is coming out in the form of paying debts, but it's getting back to people's pocket. Number 2, we are borrowing while we demonize debts. Are debts bad? No. Debts and taxes are 2 ways of government raising revenue. Are they bad? No. But if they're not put in good use, they are bad, as not having it. Instead of borrowing to swindle and just kuharibu, then you better not borrow. They're more dangerous when borrowed and not used well than even failing to borrow. Because if you don't take good use of it, then that means, I have been seeing, there's a damning report about how parastatals are doing badly. We have always borrowed even in the past just to help some of these parastatals. But why is it that we are putting money in those parastatals and they cannot give back that money? We put money into projects that do not even pay back. Of course, government is not in a profit of building a road and build that road bringing in some profit. But again, people should be having that impact, because if we put some money to construct, like I just want to example where I am. There's a road that passes around our gate. It's called Ndori. It's called Dondi Akala Road. So Dondi Akala Road has never been made, and I don't have evidence that maybe money has been set down. If money is set up for it, it's not made. That means the subsequent government also sets up money because realizing that maybe that was done, it is not done, especially when the public protests or complains. So that is what I'm saying, that we must put that good money into good use. Otherwise, we know. Now, we are not publishing that register because we want to continue amplifying and politicizing the debt. We want to use the debt distress as a political weapon, as a political tool just to whip the masses, because we know that so many things are not working into place. I believe that we should do better. If you're sure about this debt, publish that register. Thank you.